At this time, I'd like to call the January 22nd, 2026 Des Moines City Council meeting to order. Deputy Mayor Jean Oxiger will lead us in the pledge. Please stand if you are able.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, please let the record show that all council members are present. Are there any correspondence not previously received by the council?
No, Mayor.
Thank you. So at this time, we will have some comments from the public. We ask that you keep your comments respectful. When I call your name, please come to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to speak unless you're here representing an organization, in which case you may have 5 minutes. Please state your name and city of residence. First up, we have Russ Higley.
So, thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, and City staff, and Police Force. Awesome. My name is Russ Higley. I'm a resident of Tacoma, but I have been working in the city of Des Moines for over 25 years. I am the director of Highland College's Math Center Aquarium and have come to just speak briefly about six-gill shark. If you haven't heard the news recently, there is currently 2 bills in Washington State Legislature to name the six-gill shark as the state shark. It has a lot of teeth in it. So, and so there's actually a hearing in the House bill, not this Friday, but next Friday. They're looking for public comment. The Senate bill is in the committee, but it hasn't yet moved forward. Assuming the House move forward, the Senate will probably do the same. Both of them have 4 Senate or House member sponsors, so pretty nice. Obviously, that's linked to the work that we did last year, naming the city of Des Moines as the six-gill shark capital of the world. For those that don't know, we have an amazing shark. A big one can reach 18 feet. Think great white-sized sharks. And Redondo is literally the best place in the world to see them. So they are regularly seen in the summer months by divers. And the Puget Sound is a nursery ground for these. And you've probably heard how wolves are important for the health of the ecosystem. Sharks are the underwater wolf, scavengers and so forth. One of the ideas last year that was brought forward was to potentially name a street in the city as Six-Gill Way Street, whatever that one was. And so tonight I'm coming to ask if you would be willing to bring it on as an agenda item at a future session to discuss potentially commemoratively naming one of the streets in Des Moines. I previously was passed out just a little flyer. I think there was some discussion last year of 6th Avenue right down on the marina, and there was quite a bit of conversation around that, whether it should be in Redondo, whether it should be inclusive. That's actually option 2 on this. Option 1 on this, which is down at the bottom, is that Redondo Way South, which is the road that's perpendicular to the waterfront in Redondo, be named Six-Gill Shark Way South. And it's in some ways it's kind of appropriate because then the divers are literally walking down Six-Gill Shark Way to jump in the water. So, yes, that's what I got. So I'd love to be in support. I'd love to work with any or all of you to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Victoria Andrews.
Thank you and good evening all. I'm Victoria Andrews, a resident of Des Moines. At the last City Council meeting, 2 residents were adamant that the city disable our flock cameras because they posed security and privacy risks. If they have not already done so, I encourage them to request to meet with Chief Bowe to get a private demo of the system, which is what I did, and he graciously complied. I understand the council has now had a similar demo, and you can too. Only law enforcement officers and their staff have access to the system. It requires a two-factor authentication to log in, including a code similar to what is required for your online banking. Every search is recorded and audited by the state. Those searches become public record, and anyone can put in a request for them. Think of how easy it is now to shop for, say, a pair of pants online. You can check boxes to search by color, brand, distinguishing features, etc. The flock camera system is similar, but officers can't browse or search randomly like shoppers can. They are required to verify the reason for their search, for example, an Amber Alert or an armed robbery. Then they check boxes with the parameters they're searching for, and the system retrieves only those vehicles that have passed through Des Moines within the time frame requested, speeding officer response time exponentially. That time saved can mean lives saved. The system can pull up additional information about the vehicle as well, but not personal data. For that, the officer must turn to DOL. And I saw for myself that the cameras, which are aimed at the rear end of vehicles, cannot pick up any facial details about drivers or passengers, either within cars or approaching them. What about concerns over ICE having access to our data? Every agency is prohibited from sharing with ICE. It works like Facebook. We can allow our data to be shared with other law enforcement agencies, but we can block or unfriend a county or state if we learn they are violating the law. License plate data is currently stored for 30 days. After that, the images are deleted and become pixelated in the cloud with no way to reconstruct them. The state is considering legislation to reduce the amount of time camera information can be stored, but stored to only 72 hours. As for where cameras can be placed, they must be in random locations. In other words, they cannot be installed to target sites such as abortion clinics or political buildings where they could be aimed at individuals. Word is getting out. Lawbreakers are quickly learning to avoid cities that have installed flock cameras. This tool has increased our police department's efficiency, and it is working as intended. Chief Bowe pulled up a report for the previous month, and I was amazed at how many stolen vehicles had been retrieved and how many crimes had been resolved. City resources are limited, but flock cameras have dramatically aided the department's ability to keep us safe. At the February 12th council meeting, Chief Bowe will be making a presentation on flock cameras, and I encourage everyone to see for themselves what this tool can do for public safety in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jeff Gross.
Jeff, oh, well, we're going to do our item under city manager report.
Okay, so what, did I sign the wrong list?
No problem.
Hello, I'm Jeff
This is
Gross.
Jeff. He's with Rotary.
Okay.
You'll see him in just a few minutes. And Maria, are you, okay.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Thank you. Next I have Chris De La Rosa.
Hello, I'm Chris De La Rosa, resident of Des Moines. To address that concern about a demo that you all are having with the chief, that is an isolated little demo that they put together. Secondly, she even mentioned it. The MFA that he's using, or the police department uses to authenticate, is like you push a little button on your phone to authenticate. That is not sufficient to keep out phishing to steal the data. Now, on to the more pressing information. The first time I was here, I was showing you evidence on MFA and how the data isn't protected. And I'm going to skip the second part while I was there. The third part I'm here today, most importantly, is now our community is being affected. We had 8 men kidnapped on Pack Highway by Lowe's. 11. That's 11 families torn apart. Think about it. You go to work, you don't come home. What are you going to tell your family? What are you going to tell your kids? Where's dad? Where's mom? They're not coming home anymore. And that's important to keep in mind. These people lived in these apartments: Silverwood Park, Seymour, Creekwood, Victoria Woods, Pacific Ridge. The people that were picked up at Lowe's, they lived at Drexel and Chelsea Bay. Again, 11 families torn apart. How are these people going to feed their family? They were the only working people in the family. Get your pocketbooks out and start donating to people that need help. The flock cameras are being used to hunt our neighbors. The cameras is a tripwire that notifies agents the moment a car passes a flock camera, because the flock camera takes a picture of everybody's license plate, and then it gets sent into a program called Access, and it's called Access, NLETS, Bridge, and pulls private Department of Licenses, so that's right, so they get a license goes by, it triggers into the Access database, the agents get alert on what license plate go by, and the minute they have that license plate, they pounce. Because right now, they're staging at different locations along Pack Highway. They're doing it not only in Des Moines, they're doing it in Kent, they're doing it in Tukwila, Renton, and Berrien. Those are the areas that I mostly focus on. So that's what we're patrolling. That's what we're trying to protect our neighbors for. And then once they get that information, they go, and they don't ask for information. They don't ask anything. They bust the window, they drag them out, they leave the car where it's at. I've witnessed the cars after the fact, and I've met a man when I was canvassing apartment buildings, talking to neighbors. He told me that a friend, her son was abducted. So I don't speak Spanish. I got him on the phone with somebody else I know that speaks Spanish, and they communicated. And that boy now is sitting in Tacoma.
Ms. De La Rosa, if you could wrap up your comments. Thank
Sure.
you.
So right now, Councilman, I've already said, think of your children if you don't come home. Please do the right thing and decommission these cameras. They're more harm than good.
Thank you. Judy Grand. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Judy Grandy, and I live in Des Moines. I'm glad that the City Council is learning more about flock cameras and the automated license plate readers, and members of the community are also learning more. That is great. The technology that the ALPR technology they use that is compiled into a database that can be searched, as Chris was just referring to. These systems are recording everyone who passes by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I urge everyone to go to dflock.me, see where cameras are located, and think about, why is a camera in that location? Who lives near there? Where are people going when they pass by the camera? Are families now figuring out different routes to go get their groceries, take their kids to school, go to work? The University of Washington's Department of Human Rights continues to study the impact of flock cameras on people in our communities. Many people in our community live in fear every day. I am sure many people in this room know people who are worried about being kidnapped because of the color of their skin or the languages they speak or their accent. This is the time to reach out to your neighbors and figure out how you can support each other. This is what we are, is we are community. And so it's on each of us to reach out to our community members and see what they need, see what they're fearful of, and talk and work it out, and do what you can to support them. For the sake of possible harm to people and also for privacy issues. Every one of us should be concerned about privacy issues. I'm still requesting that the City Council vote to decommission the flock cameras. I'm also curious about what I will find next week when I review the flock data that from my public records request. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
And congratulations to the police officers that are receiving promotions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Next, we have Chuck Coleman.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Congratulations. Council members, congratulations to new council members, staff, and the public. Chuck Coleman, for the record, Redondo Beach. I'm here to let you know that the Redondo Beach community, nearly 300 members, fully supports the request from Russ Higley to have a name, Redondo Way, for the Schick Skill Shark Way. We're very excited about that. As you know, we participated in the Six Gills ceremony, Shark in the Park, and we're planning it again this year. So we are fully in support of that and just wanted you to know. Thank you very much.
And we have Tracy Buxton.
Oh, it's up there already. Good. So will you click it? Tracy Buxton. I live in Des Moines, and I promise I will stop coming to these meetings one of these days. So, thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, City Manager, and staff. Thanks for having me tonight. I really appreciate this opportunity. So, I am here to introduce to you our brand new Des Moines Chamber of Commerce. And we are thrilled to bring this on board. We've been working very hard. We have assembled a board, and as you can see up there, very recognizable names so far here, and I would like to take a moment to recognize some of these folks are here in the room tonight. If you could stand. Appreciate your service. Thank you so much. I'm not allowed to applaud, or we would. So we've been working hard. Our vision and mission is to support the business community in Des Moines by encouraging collaboration, capital projects, events, activities, and vetted economic elements that invite healthy commerce. Now, we used to have a chamber in Des Moines a couple decades ago, and when that closed, a group of passionate, smart citizens, organizations, and even a regional chamber stepped in to fill in some of the gaps. But we do still have more gaps. And our businesses, especially in our downtown corridor, do feel it. They need some more support. Your Des Moines Chamber will be able to provide personal connection and services to our businesses. Listen and strive to know our commercial properties by payer, proprietor, and purpose. To provide personal and successful promotion and marketing of our businesses. Curate business-centric events, fun, but that also brings people into our businesses. We'll be able to collaborate with the city and support council initiatives that enhance business success. We will advocate for our business interests locally and regionally. We'll partner with other community organizations in their efforts to bring a vibrant community into downtown and into our entire city. And we can offer hyper-local support, connecting businesses to each other so that no business is left behind, and to work to build a cohesive business community that has continuity and build one voice, like a connectivity between themselves. Can we do this? Absolutely, we can do this. If you noticed the names on that list, the group of folks that we are assembling to be our leaders, they have institutional knowledge of Des Moines. They live locally and are connected to Des Moines. They have leadership voice in Des Moines. We are Des Moines, and we are your chamber. Now, we have a couple questions for the council, and I know you can't answer during this segment, but maybe another segment during the meeting or later. I will be here until the end of the meeting if you want to connect with me. So here's our questions. Can you support this chamber? And in the next few weeks, we'll be rolling out public information, which will also include our membership tiers and pricing. So we will get that information to you as soon as we have it. Can you participate? Can you support the participation? It's well known that it's wise to have, especially for a local chamber, to have a city representative on the seat of their board. And so we are saving you a seat. And subscribe. This is an open invitation to subscribe. That will be free. Subscribe to our newsletter. It'll be called Your Chamber at Work, and anyone who subscribes for free will get a regular update from us about what's going on in the community. Thank you so much. Hope to hear from you all.
Thank you very much. At this time, we're currently running a committee of the whole meeting. So, however, council members do serve regionally on other committees. Do we have council members with items of interest to the public or to the council? Councilmember Harris.
thought that one was pushed. Thank you, sir. So I serve on the RTC Advisory Committee, and since we have a couple of new people, we had our first meeting of the year, and the RTC, the Regional Transit Committee, basically is Metro, which includes bus service and water taxis and so forth. It's a big deal. It previously was an independent agency, sort of like the Port of Seattle, but over time it got folded into King County. It's supposed to be still quasi-independent, but the reason I mention that is that up until fairly recently, budgets for transit were divvied up geographically. Each area of the county received a certain amount of funding guaranteed. Around 2010-ish or so, that system changed to what was considered a less political, more metric-based system. And I mention that because the first rapid ride was the A line that goes through Des Moines, and the funny thing about that is that if they use the metrics that they have today, I'm struggling to see how it would get funded. I don't see how the 635 shuttle would have gotten funded. They use a system now that has three elements: reducing crowding, improving reliability on existing lines, and then growing service. And so I mention that because there's been interest on the council in improving east-west service. It is a zero-sum game. It is one master budget. So over previous years, we've had these sort of back and forth over east-west, ferry, and so on. And what I've tried to convey to people is that it's a zero-sum game. You really can't get both. And so you got to kind of decide where you want to focus. We were able to achieve the 635 through a partnership with the port, the airport, the FAA, and so forth. And you have to develop that kind of special carve-out. So at some point, as we decide what we're going to do regarding a ferry and so forth, that really should be something we think about. It's kind of an either-or sort of a deal at these, when we develop these budgets. And I think that's about it for now. Thanks.
Thank you. Any others? Okay. Now time for our city manager's report, and our city manager, Catherine Caffrey.
Thank you, Mayor. We have two items, both of which I think are really exciting and positive, but we'll start with some police promotions if Chief Bo wants to come on up. And then we'll let these men and women get back to duty after this.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Council, Mayor, for having me tonight. One of the really exciting things I get to do in my job is recognize the men and women that work for this community. I came here 18 months ago, and one of the most exciting things about coming here was indeed the amazing people that work in this community. Tonight we're talking about the rank of sergeant, and I want to talk a little bit about what a sergeant is in our agency. At about 5:30 every night, I drive home. Your assistant chiefs drive home. And the person who's making all of the decisions in the city at night, running the crew, making sure everybody gets to your calls, making sure everybody's doing everything right, is the sergeant. They are actually the ones out here running this department, your police response, 24 hours a day. That's a huge responsibility. It's also a huge honor to have people that I trust with that responsibility that make me go home and sleep good at night. It's the reason why you all should sleep good at night. We don't just pick somebody for a sergeant. We don't just point our finger and say that's the one. The way we select our sergeants here is first we take all of the existing supervisors in the city and we say, who do you want to work with? Who do you want to be the next sergeant? And we hire a consultant that comes in and does a job analysis and then looks at the performance of every one of those people right now doing the work in the city who are not sergeants yet. Who are your leaders? Who are the ones people look up to? Who can follow the law and do the right thing every single time? And we do an assessment of those skills as they're displaying them now, not in the sergeant rank, and that's 35% of their score. The other 65% of their score is we hire completely random people who are already high-level leaders in other agencies, and they have to go in and explain how they're going to handle a whole series of complicated assessment-based scenarios to another set of supervisors who don't know them from Adam. And they have to prove that they can actually not just be the popular kid on the block, but actually explain to a complete stranger the right way to do the job every single time. Then they take those scores and they combine them, and the people at the top of the list are the people who are trusted to do the job right now, be leaders in their department, be the ones that people look up to, and can demonstrate to a complete stranger that they can do it the right way every single time. So, with that, that is how we come to the two people that we're going to recognize tonight and that we're going to promote to the rank of sergeant. Mr. LaMarche, come on. First one we're going to talk about tonight is Shay LaMarche. So Shay started his law enforcement career in 2013 with the Washington State Patrol. As a Washington State Patrol trooper, he worked aggressive driving apprehension team, auto theft task force, prior to lateraling to us as a 5-year officer in 2018. Since he's been here working for us, he has been on the SWAT team. He is certified as an explosive breacher and 6.5 years in specialty assignment on the SWAT team. He also is the department's lead firearms instructor. He does a ton of our training, runs our range, and really is responsible for a lot of that decision-making and realistic training that our officers go through to prepare them. In addition, he has done a lot of work in narcotics and has been recognized for his bravery and leadership in apprehending several armed fugitives in our community. When he's off duty, most of his time is doing exactly what he's supposed to do, which is spending it with his lovely family. So, with that said, if your wife would like to come forward with your daughter and pin your badge. Go stand over by Corey for a minute. I'll be right with you. Before we do your official swearing in, we have one more sergeant to recognize today. Mr. Morris, come on down. I have to tell this story. Just when I got here, there are some people who are just the most kind, lovely human beings you will ever meet in your entire life. And I have to tell you, you are that guy. Like, every time you walk through the building, it is just, I hope you have a blessed day. I feel better every time I walk through the building and see you. So I think your wife should know that. It just makes me happy. So
I appreciate that, Chief.
With that said, another lateral officer, in 2005, Mr. Jackson started his career with the Jackson Police Department. Mr. Morris started his career with the Jackson Police Department. There we go, in Mississippi. He was working for the DART team, which is the Direct Action Response Team, also working in the narcotics field, promoted to the rank of sergeant prior to leaving that department and lateraling up here to the Northwest to join us. Since 2022, worked for the Des Moines Police Department. He has achieved several milestones, including being on our peer support team. And peer support team is really the officers that help people when our officers are involved in a critical event. They go out and help the officers process that stress response to a critical event. Also does sex offender registration work and has recently taken on the role as a field training officer, teaching our new officers how to do the job of being a police officer. He also is a corporal on our agency, which is the rank between officer and sergeant, doing a lot of the field supervision and leadership in the field. Outside of work, you can find Mr. Morris lifting weights, as well as in work, walking around, I don't know, with engine blocks in the back room or whatever you do. barbecuing, and again, spending time with his family. And this afternoon, your wife is here to pin your badge. If you would do the honor, ma'am. Congratulations, sir. Thank you, sir. Before I do the formal swearing in, I also want to recognize, standing around this room right now are the men and women that are the ones out there doing the work every day. So be them in uniform, some in civilian clothes tonight who came to recognize this moment. Can we also give a round of applause to the men and women who are doing the work? If I can get the council to step down for a photo, that'd be wonderful.
We're going to pause just a moment to let any officers that want to head out have a moment to leave. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, our next item is really now time for Jeff and Maria Gross and whoever else wants to speak from Rotary. Some of you all may recall that over New Year's Eve, the Rotary organization partnered with the city to kind of revive the Burning Boat event. It was really successful. I think it was a great event. And Rotary did this as a fundraiser for the city's Parks and Rec programs for our youth scholarships, which had candidly been a fund that had really been dwindling in revenues and resources. So we're super grateful for their fundraising efforts. So I will let Jeff talk a little bit about the event and the exciting results.
Great. So my name is Jeff Gross. I live on the soon-to-be-called Six Gill Shark Avenue, which I'm excited about. I'm representing the Rotary Club of Des Moines and Normandy Park. As you know, we partnered with the city about this time last year for the Blues and Brews. And during that time, we said, where can we use the resources that we have and the talents we have and the gifts we have to help make our city a bigger and better place to be? So I have great news to announce that the Burning Boat is back. A little bit. So we had 500 people attend the Burning Boat. Of that, 114 were children. So one of the things that we wanted to do with the event is we really wanted to be children-centric. We beefed up the activities. Legacy Foundation helped with the children's. We did a scavenger hunt, face painting, lantern making, and that was a great success and a great joy to see the kids going around. So we did raise some money through everyone's special generosity with purchasing tickets, the sponsorship. The Legacy Foundation gave a generous sponsorship of $5,000. So we are here to present $15,000. What's exciting about this, if you recall, when we were going with our partnership, we were saying that, hey, we can raise some money for you. So this is our second donation since the partnership. So we're up to $18,100. Everybody but Dan.
Well, again, we really want to thank Rotary and Legacy, who together really made a donation of that size able to happen. So it's really incredible, and we're reviving the scholarship program now. So that concludes my city manager report, and I'll turn back to you, Mayor.
Great, thank you very much. Will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Item 1, approval of vouchers. Item 2, approval of minutes. Item 3, business license model ordinance update, second reading. Item 4, North Hill Walkway Improvements Project, right-of-way acquisitions. Item 5, State of Washington Department of Ecology 2025 to 2027 Water Quality Stormwater Capacity Grant Award. Item 6, 2026 to 2027 Recycling Program Professional Services Contract. Item 7, approval of amendments to the Conservation Futures Interlocal Cooperation. Item 8, unit lot subdivision, lot splitting, and substandard or non-conforming lot regulations update, second reading. Item 9, 6th and 287th Storm Project Task Assignment Amendment. And item 10, Des Moines Creek Estuary Project On-Call General Engineering Services Task Assignment with Parametrics and Grant Awards. And that concludes the consent agenda, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as read? Councilmember Nutting.
So moved, Mayor.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilmember Bloss. Does any council member wish to pull an item? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of the consent agenda as read, please raise your right hand until I call your name. Deputy Mayor Oxiger, Councilmember Steinmetz, Councilmember Harris, Councilmember Desmone, Councilmember Nutting, Councilmember Bloss, and myself. That is 7-0. Thank you. All right. It is now time for some unfinished business. And I believe we have a staff presentation about the creation of the Ad Hoc Franchise Committee by City Attorney Tim George.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is about the creation of an Ad Hoc Franchise Committee. As the council is aware, in October of 2025, the council decided to not automatically renew the 3 existing franchises that were expiring in 2026. Those are listed up on the board there. And as a result, we are beginning negotiations with Southwest Suburban, Highline Water District, and Midway Sewer District. These franchises are set to expire in June. The protocol manual allows for the creation of ad hoc committees to provide guidance on technical issues. Members of the committee are appointed by the mayor, and they're dissolved upon completion of their task, which is why we're seeking the council to reestablish this committee. Finally, creation of this committee would be helpful in our negotiations as it will provide a place for staff to vet proposed edits and to receive feedback. It will also allow council members who are on the committee to have input along the way, including review the effect of cost increases, low-income and senior discounts, impacts on businesses, and all the other issues that may arise during a franchise negotiation. So with that, we're seeking a motion from the council to reestablish this committee.
Council, do you have any questions? Questions only at this time. All right. Councilmember Nutting.
I move to reestablish the ad hoc franchise committee to assist with negotiations of the utility franchise agreements expiring in June of 2026.
So, yes, Councilmember Desmone, thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Okay. Well, all those in favor, please raise your right hand until I call your name. Deputy Mayor Oxiger, Councilmember Steinmetz, Councilmember Desmone, Councilmember Nunning, Councilmember Blas, myself, all opposed. Councilmember Harris, motion passes 6-1. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. George. Let's go on to some new business. We'll be hearing about the Airport Advisory Committee 2026 work plan and a staff presentation by Rebecca Deming. No.
Well, Joe Dusenberry,
Okay.
the chair, is going to actually give the presentation since this is the work from his committee. But as he comes up, I want to also give a real official thank you to him for spending his day in Olympia yesterday along with Rebecca, really providing some important testimony on legislation that could really impact our community. So thank you for doing that yesterday, Joe.
You're welcome, quite welcome. Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're here tonight to talk about the recommended work plan for the Airport Advisory Committee. And I'm joined here tonight with 3 of my co-members, Steve Reagan, right here in the front room, Barton Delaney, and Jeff Bogan. And one member was not able to make it due to a prior commitment. First, I'll start with our activities to date. I'm not quite sure where this goes, but to date, the committee has met 6 times. In addition to developing the work plan we're presenting tonight, the committee has developed a process for responding to citizens' complaint about airport noise. Discussed adding legal counsel to the team that our city and the cities of Berrien and SeaTac are forming to respond to the SAMPS, SEPA, and NEPA, and sent a memo to the council affirming the committee's support for that addition. Discussed the port's state legislative priorities and recommended and communicated to the council the committee's recommendation that our representatives to start vote no or abstain when the port asks for starts approval. And just, I'll back up, I'm also the community representative to the START, the SeaTac Area Roundtable. Sorry, I forgot to mention that at the beginning. On our proposed work plan, I'll go through this briefly. There are 4 main elements to the committee's proposed work plan, but here are some of the assumptions we have regarding the scope and execution of the plan. We think the time period for planning is about 1 year. The SEPA is going to take place primarily in 2026, maybe the first part of 2027. So that's when we have to focus all of our energies. We'll have a monthly regular scheduled meeting here at City Hall, and they're open to the public. The meeting agendas will typically contain a discussion about the information presented at the last start committee meetings and working groups. Oops, sorry, that's it. As far as our work plan, the first item that we want to talk about is our healthy environment. We recognize that a healthy environment is essential to the quality of life in Des Moines. To ensure that we have a healthy environment, the committee will advocate for expansion of the air quality monitoring system and formalizing an arrangement for permanent funding, control, and management of the system, an appropriate level of funding for the ongoing study of the data collected by the air quality monitoring system, and the addition of a nationally recognized toxicologist to the team responding to the Port Sustainable Airport Master Plan, SEPA Draft EIS. For our second, I'm going to bump forward to this. The airport's Part 150 study, which is essentially separate from the SEPA, but just a little bit of information. The 150 is mandated by the FAA, and periodically the airport has to study the sound impacts on the neighboring communities, and they have to develop what they call the 65 DNL line, which is the line that separates people that get mitigation and people that don't get mitigation. You can see up there that dotted line is the existing 65 DNL, and the proposed line that will actually go into effect probably at least by 2028 is the solid line. So you can see that most of the expansion of the 65 DNL area is in the southwest corner, and that's us. That said, the Part 150 study will determine changes to the area impacted by the sound from the airport's operations, and we want to recommend mitigation measures in 3 areas: operations, sound insulation, and zoning and compatible uses. The committee believes that the result of the 150 study will shift the burden of mitigating the noise impacts to the surrounding communities by de-emphasizing sound insulation packages and recommending significant changes to land use designations. The committee will support the city as needed in public education efforts regarding the impacts of airport operations in the Des Moines community and research mitigation measures other than sound insulation. 3, the committee will make recommendations regarding advocating for a more comprehensive traffic analysis in the SEPA process that includes impact from WashDOT's completed Highway 509 project. And 4, towards the middle of 2026, when our citizens are more aware of the full scope of SAMP, the committee would like to develop a community survey to determine the level of awareness of the full scope of SAMP and find out where the community is in terms of awareness. This will provide the committee with an opportunity to adjust our recommendations for outreach efforts. The committee feels that the decisions made in the next 12 to 14 months will lock our city into present and future impacts from the airport's operations. The next opportunity to influence decisions about our future will not occur until 2037. Through this proposed work plan and other activities made necessary by unfolding events, the committee will endeavor to advance the interests of our community. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Council, do you have any questions? Please, questions only. Oh, Councilmember Bloss.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. In terms of pollution monitoring, have you thought about looking into the water pollution? Most of the airport empties into our Des Moines Creek.
We think that that's going to be an important part of SAMP. If you talk to the airport about it, they'll tell you that they're already monitoring that on several vectors and for several things like brake dust and tire debris and all that kind of thing. And it will be part of SAMP, but it obviously be something that we're interested in because of Des Moines Creek Burien's obviously interested in it because of Miller Creek.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Nutting.
I move to approve the Airport Advisory Committee 2026 work plan as presented.
Second to Councilmember Steinmetz. Any discussion? Yes, Councilmember Steinmetz.
Yeah, I think this is just really an excellent presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Dusenberry. And the whole committee has really put a lot of work into this, and it's appreciated. I think this is exactly what we were hoping to get out of forming an airport committee, and I think your work plan is excellent. So I hope everybody will support this. This is a community-based committee that is moving forward with an honest, achievable work plan. So I think it's an excellent idea. Thank you.
All right. Will all those in favor please raise your right hand until I call your name? Councilmember or Deputy Mayor Oxiger, Councilmember Steinmetz, Councilmember Desmone, Councilmember Nutting, Councilmember Bloss, and myself, all opposed. Councilmember Harris, motion passes 6-1. Thank you. Next, we have a presentation around the Public Defender contract update, and that will be delivered by our Finance Director, Jeff Friend.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, members of the public, staff. Jeff Friend, Finance Director, presenting the Public Defender contract update. So, public defense services are required. So, cities are required by law to provide attorney services for qualifying low-income individuals charged with a misdemeanor. Annually, the city averages about 38 cases per month, where a public defender is appointed, or about 456 cases per year. Since 2021, the city has contracted with the law firm Stewart McNichols Harmel, Inc., and has paid a flat rate per case for these services. Given that there is now a public defense attorney shortage, over the last several years, a number of factors have contributed to a public defense attorney shortage across the state. Those factors are lower wages in the private practice, caseload limits implemented by the State Bar Association, which is highly relevant to this presentation, and more competition from cities and counties with more resources than the city of Des Moines. So a shortage in attorneys has resulted in the cost of providing these services to increase dramatically. In essence, it's supply and demand. Not much supply, a whole lot of demand. Request for proposals. So the city's contracted provider provided 6-month notice to terminate the existing contract. The final date is January 31st of this year, so that'd be next week. Termination notice was provided as the agreement was well below the market rate that the provider was receiving from other cities. The city has in turn initiated a request for proposals. So the city published RFP on various websites, bar associations, direct solicitations, and all traditional posting places. The city established a revenue review committee with representatives from court, admin, finance, and Normandy Park, and the city only received one proposal. And that proposal was from the firm that was providing the services already to the city. So the price quoted in the RFP is $750 per case for the first 12 months, and then $1,000 per case for the next 12 months. This is an increase from the prior rate of $550 per case. And that's $180,000 over what is currently budgeted for 2026. And that's an additional $115,000 next year, because that was an increase in price for next year. The rates of $750 and $1,000 are identical to what SMH charges on their contracts with other cities. The city's alternatives to this contract, well, or just in general, first one is to approve this contract and locate the funding. The second alternative would be to contract with a different firm, But at this time, as we found through the RFP process, that's not a viable alternative. But staff will continue to search for attorneys to provide this service and can opt out of the contract with 90 days' notice. And then the third alternative is to hire in-house public defenders as city employees. This option has been reviewed and likely would not produce any cost savings. This also require private office space the city does not currently have. Financial impact. So the city manager will determine source of funds for 2026. Options include one, using additional public safety sales tax funds. This would likely result in the planned additional police officer not being hired. Use of newly established contingency fund. And as a reminder, the contingency fund can only be spent with council approval. And then the third, reduction in staff in other areas. So 2027 funding and beyond will be identified through the budget process. Further legislative efforts with the state. So the Association of Washington Cities, which is AWC, is advocating for state action to address this crisis. Attachment 3 in the packet provides an update on their position and efforts. Without state action, the cost of public defense to local governments is anticipated to triple over the next 10 years, from $40 million to $120 million. And in the packet also states that most states, the state pays for these services. We're one of a few states where that cost is actually passed down to the local governments. AWC is seeking additional state funding, delaying or eliminating the caseload standards and other options to increase access to public defenders. And all these efforts, even if they are successful, are unlikely to provide immediate relief. And this is the suggested motion.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Please, questions only at this time. I saw Councilmember Harris first, and then I'll go to Councilmember Nutting.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, but my search thing isn't searching at the moment. Do they provide any kind of metric on, like, an average per hour, that how much time they spend on a typical case?
That might be a legal question.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say because there's a lot of differences in the complexity of cases that they handle. So for a DUI or an assault case or something that used to be a felony, but now we're charging at the misdemeanor level because of the filing standards in King County, those can be complex cases that could take 20, 30 hours. If it goes to trial, it could be a lot more than that. So when you look at that 750 number, that's a bargain.
That's exactly my point.
But I guess I don't want to interrupt you, but there's also cases that they might take an hour or 2 hours, right? And so I think what they look at is essentially what does it cost for them to provide that service, and then they give us a flat rate that equals that cost based on the number of cases that they're getting. So the reality is their cost per hour for attorneys has gone way up, and so that's being passed along to us.
No, I'm just. I mean, I am sure they're, good at, doing a spreadsheet. I'm just, that number just seems like, wow. It takes a long time even to do routine legal work. So that was just the thing that stuck out to me. Thank you.
Councilmember Nutting.
My question is, so we're required to offer this service anyway, so there's really no way around. We're kind of bootstrapped to moving forward with this.
I think they refer to it as an unfunded mandate.
Thank you.
Councilmember Simons.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear. This is consistent with what the same firm is charging other cities. So we're just bringing ourselves up to where the market is, essentially. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Councilmember Bloss.
Did we move from 6 months to 90 days termination notice in the new contract?
I think Tim.
Yeah, that's correct. And actually, that was to benefit us because SMH has said they've recognized the fact that they're raising prices, and they said if you can find someone else that can do this, you can give us a shorter notice to get out of this contract. I don't believe that they would be in a situation where they would terminate our agreement and leave us without a public defender because they have a good reputation and they have a lot of contracts with other cities. So they're really doing their best, and they recognize the burden that this cost creates. And they're very much open to us breaking the contract if we can find another law firm that can do it cheaper but also effectively, you know. And so we'll continue to look, but the reality is every city is looking at these increased costs, and there really isn't a law firm out there that has extra attorneys to take on other cities at the moment.
Councilmember Harris, your second time.
So that brings up my other thing. Is this a dwindling market? Is there a risk that at some point there will be zero people in the field? And is there some legislative strategy that we should be thinking about for maybe next year, or just, I'm just, in other words, they seem very willing to surrender the business, and so.
Well, I don't think that there will be more attorneys that go into this field. One, because the wages are rising. You know, because attorneys are not going into this field, prices are going up to get them, and so that's making this profession become more competitive. But, you know, maybe changes with the legislature, maybe there's other lines of legal work where non-lawyers who have certain training can do legal work. So I don't know if that's something that might come out of this, but certainly rising wages will help bring in attorneys who are practicing in other areas of law.
All right, do I have a motion? I'll go to Councilmember Steinmetz.
I move to approve the contract with Stewart McNichols Harmel Incorporated, PS, for indigent public defense services for the period of February 1, 2026 through January 31, 2028.
Second goes to Councilmember Nutting. Thank you. All right, any discussion? Yes, Councilmember Steinmetz.
Well, as many of you know, this is something near and dear to my heart. I am a public defender. That's how I make my living. To address some of the questions that were raised, I do felony work, and I only do felonies. But I'll have felonies that I can get finished in 30 days and felonies that take me 3 years or more. And that's just how varied criminal cases can be. So, you know, it's really difficult to put an average number on it. Firms like SMH have gotten pretty good about saying, okay, if we're doing this many cases and we can get this amount of money through in total, we can figure out how to run the firm and get the lawyers necessary that we need to do that. So the reason I asked the question that I did was to make sure that we are being consistent with other cities around, and I think that's what's important. That's where the market is, and we're way behind at this point, and it's not surprising that they essentially wanted to renegotiate it. This is part of an ongoing process because the Supreme Court has determined that the rates at which people were being provided public defense were totally inadequate, and have imposed caseload standards over the next 10 years that are gradually going to increase. This is going to create a real problem, even though wages are going up for these kinds of things. Washington State averages, we have 3 law schools. They, in round numbers, graduate about 400 lawyers a year. If we even assume that 10% of those lawyers are going to go into public defense and staying in the state, because we have people that go out of state once they've graduated all the time. If it's just 10% of them, that's only 40 lawyers every year. There are not enough lawyers coming into the system, even under those very rounded numbers, to meet this crisis. So, you know, this is something we do have to look at down the road. I think there's going to be a lot of changes that are coming to the practice of law, particularly indigent criminal defense. But for now, this is where we have to go if we are going to continue to provide any kind of reasonable service to the people that need a lawyer. And that's something that we're all entitled to under the Sixth Amendment of the United States Constitution. And that is a very, very important part. This is a job that is constitutionally mandated, and we need to simply support that. And we're just being consistent with what is being charged to other cities. I urge you to support the motion.
Thank you. Other discussion item? All right. Is there... All those in favor, please raise your right hand until I call your name. Deputy Mayor Oxiger, Councilmember Steinmetz, Councilmember Harris, Councilmember Desmone, Councilmember Nutting, Councilmember Bloss, and myself passes 7-0. Thank you very much. All right, at this time we're going to move into new agenda items for consideration. At this time, for the purpose of proposing new business items for discussion on a future agenda, any recommendation will simply need a hand raise from 3 or more council members. Do any council members have new business they would like to propose? I saw Councilmember Steinmetz first.
Thank you. I propose that we have a future agenda item regarding the membership and naming of either Redondo Way South or 6th Avenue, that we make that decision when that agenda item comes in front of us, but as proposed by Russ Higley.
Okay. Do I have other hands to go with that? Great. Thank you very much. And then I saw Councilmember Nutting.
That was mine.
That was yours? Okay. Any other new agenda items? Thank you very much. So we have that down for our list for our future agenda item. I appreciate it. Now it's time for our council member reports, which are limited to 4 minutes. We are going to start with Councilmember Steinmetz.
Thank you. Hit my button. Thank you very much. You know, it hasn't been a terribly busy week, so I don't have a whole lot to go into, but this is typical in the first of the year. But I was at the Councilmember Pete Von Reichbauer has a Good Eggs breakfast on Wednesday mornings, which he invites a lot of people to. And the guest speaker was the new county executive, Gurmay Zalai. And he gave just an absolutely wonderful talk about where he came from, his background, what he is hoping to accomplish as county executive over the years. But I think most importantly, he wanted to point out that he is the first King County executive who does not live in the city of Seattle. That tells you a lot right there, because Seattle has dominated King County politics for a long time, and he is not from that area. He's from Tukwila. And it is his vision, or how he wants to conduct himself during the job, is to get out and meet people in every community in King County. So I would certainly like to, propose that we reach out to him and invite him to a council session if we can. I would hope there'd be some support for that. But I think he really does want to get out and meet the people, meet the communities that he will be the county executive for. And I would urge everybody to do that. And, I look forward to more good eggs. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Harris.
Thank you. Let's see here. So last week I attended Korean American Day celebration at the Korean Consulate downtown. I am honored to be invited to those every year. This year there was a special award and so forth for our new King County Council member, Stephanie Fain. And so that was the Korean American Association. They are just amazingly well organized, and I would strongly recommend reaching out to them. Anybody who's in the event planning business, they're just great at this stuff. I attended the Martin Luther King celebration at the Northwest African American History Museum in Seattle. That's sort of an every year family thing. I just want to explain. I voted no on the franchise agreements thing because basically I'm just not a fan of franchise agreements. I have always felt that we should have just one standard utility agreement.
Point of order? Please state your point. He can speak for 4 minutes as long as he wants, so we're going to go ahead. Pretty much.
Yeah.
We're going to do that. Mm-hmm.
And I voted no on the Aviation Committee work plan. I fully appreciate the work that they're doing, but I'm just, frankly, we are undervaluing the importance of the issue. I cannot stress enough to the cities of Burien and Des Moines, STNI talks about this thing called the airport discount. We all benefit from lower property values and all kinds of nice stuff in exchange for the negative airport impacts. It's no joke. It's millions of dollars a year, but our city has to address it with sincerity as an existential thing. But when you have a system where people essentially obtain a benefit from it, or they think that they can promote their way out of it, which is what we've done for decades, it's really hard to go to Olympia and get people to take the issues seriously. To that extent, I will be going to Olympia tomorrow and making this same pitch, because I bless Senator Orwell and the legislation that she puts forward every year, but it is not targeting what this city needs. We have a structural revenue deficit that is not going to get better, and it's due to the airport, and at some point all it would take would just be the political will to stop denying it and acknowledge the reality. That's what it will take to flip the script. But at the moment, when I look at my peers in Burien, everybody talks about these ephemeral mitigations, and I have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. For me, it's the fact that we struggle financially decade after decade, and residents like it. That's really what it comes down to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Desmone.
Thank you, Mayor. I did have a meeting last week, a Zoom meeting with two of the lobbyists from AWC. I'm sorry, I'm learning the initials, all Washington cities. Exactly. Sorry. And I did speak with them about House Bill 2015 and the struggles with the city public safety tax and coupling that with the police qualifying for the grants. We have equal concerns. They are speaking on our behalf. And I did volunteer to testify if they needed that to help push things along so that we could possibly uncouple the tax with the qualifications for the policing. So I will keep an eye on that and let you know how that goes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Nutting.
Nothing at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Bloss.
Just want to remind the public there's 1 week left before the applications for the Planning Commission are due, and so I'd urge anyone qualified and interested to send your application on time. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to Deputy Mayor Oxiger.
Thank you, Mayor. I spent the day yesterday in Olympia at the with the Association of Washington Cities Action Days, and piggybacking on what Councilmember Desmone said, There is concern over the public sales tax increase. We've already started collecting it, but we haven't qualified for the distribution of the money. And there is a request in that the first $100,000 collected be withheld by the state treasurer. And this goes, it doesn't matter the size of the city or anything else, they're just withholding the first $100,000 until people meet the qualifications. And so that's of concern. They're working through the whole issue of how people could actually meet the qualifications. These are qualifications to apply for various grants for public safety. But in the whole process there's some real questions that have arisen as to what happens with the monies that are being withheld. Do they eventually come back to the city? Are they going to be withheld, be absorbed back into the system, or what? And so this was an area of very intense concern on the part of people at the Action Days. Other than that, and we'll, it's everybody just, kind of on pins and needles trying to figure out exactly what you have to do to meet the qualifications. Again, the legislative priorities by AWC, which we are part of, they are very focused on the indigent defense contracts, transportation, increasing sustainable revenue to support transportation, preservation, maintenance, and operations, and includes direct distributions to cities and towns. They're continuing to support efforts to improve traffic safety, explore revenue tools such as highway usage fee, a retail delivery fee, and expanded transportation benefit district authority, which is being described as sidewalk utilities. So there's also concern about housing supply and affordable housing and support tools that can be done to ease that process. And then they're also concerned about shared revenues, and they want to continue the historical revenue sharing partnership between the state and cities and towns, which provides stability and continuity for local budgets. Preservation of these resources, such as liquor revenues and criminal justice assistance funds, are indispensable to local fiscal sustainability and predictability. So these are all areas that they are focusing on. I will say that the mood was quite subdued. The governor did come and speak to the group. Given the budget...
Go ahead.
Okay, given the budget...
Let's give him a few more minutes here.
Okay. Given the budget situation, things are kind of like in limbo. This is a very short session. They've got a ton of work to do. The first cutoff date is the 4th of February, but we don't get a revenue forecast until the 16th of February. So on a 60-day session, I believe it's the 12th of March is the end of the session. So it's going to be jam-packed, very fast movement, and they're working hard down there. So that's my report.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I wanted to make sure you had some time to report out from Action Days because Deputy Mayor Oxiger actually gamely took my place. I was unable to attend, and I asked him to go in my stead. So I'll make sure to yield some of my time to him. But thank you for doing it. And thank you for other folks who have been participating in some legislative items and offering for testimony. I think one of the things that happens when you get more involved with local government is you realize what those access points are. And legislators, just like council members, want to hear from you. They want to know where you fall on some of these ideas. And if you have the opportunity to get involved, either here telling us your opinion about things or your state legislators, I encourage you to do so. I want to say congratulations to our new sergeants who are here today. It's an honor to be promoted, and especially so well thought of by their peers, and really taking themselves to that new level of responsibility. And it is a great deal of responsibility to move into a sergeant role. I wanted to say thanks especially to the representatives from Legacy and from the Rotary Club of Des Moines and Normandy Park, who came in to give us some feedback and some updates about the partnership that we've worked so hard in the past year or so to encourage a greater engagement and a more positive relationship all around with some of those community organizations. I attended Burning Boat, and I think many of us, at least 4 or 5 of us did as well, and I know there were many city staff there as well, and we had a fantastic time. And so I hope that folks, I think the weather really helped. Even though it was very, very cold, it was dry. So hopefully we'll hold out for next year, and we'll see you then in some other Rotary event or at Burning Boat. Coming up, we're going to be telling you a little bit more about the strategic planning. I know that we have a presentation coming up, and we also have a retreat that we'll be talking a great deal about our strategic planning and what we've heard, speaking of which, of that feedback from the public and how we can really use that to guide our thinking about what the next steps are for Des Moines. There's many spring events that are coming up. I know it seems like winter right at this minute, but I was reminded today that things like soccer are coming up, our extravaganza we'll hear more about in the future. So with that, I think that's all I have. And I wanted to say thank you so much for our Chamber of Des Moines to come out and tell us about their upcoming plans. We do have an executive session. Thank you. I'm back on script. At this time, our council is going to go into executive session. The purpose of this executive session is to discuss pending litigation under RCW 42.30.1101I. Thank you. The executive session is expected to last 15 minutes. That's going to carry us to, 7:37, and no formal action will be taken at the end of the executive session. All right. We're returning to our open session after our executive session. And we're at the adjournment. Our next meeting is going to be a city council study session on February 5th, 2026. Deputy Mayor Oxiger, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
I'll give that to Councilmember Nutting. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. All right, thank you very much. Motion passes and we are adjourned.